Well, Cody, we've got the first iteration of the college football playoff rankings, and Texas was, of course, the first team out. If it were to end today, the good news is it does not end today. Texas going on by this week, and we're going to have a great week of football with some important games that are going to have an effect on Texas and an effect on the seeding and the rest of the teams going. But like we talked about, there's all this talk about can a 3-loss SEC team make it in? Can yada yada yada? But all that stuff is still yet to be figured out with a long month of November ahead of us. One thing that we know is that Texas needs to show up and they need to be on their P's and Q's versus Georgia as they head out to Athens. We're going to talk about the defense today, what we saw versus Vanderbilt, what areas of improvement, areas of strength, and what happened in the fourth quarter of that game. It's a whole lot to get to. First, though, Cody, why don't you talk to them about the Man Eye Institute?
Well, I'm not in Athens. I'm not going to be in Athens next week. I wish I was, but I was in the car all week with my mom, and I will say I think I'm going to consider bringing her to Texas in the next couple of months because I think she might need some LASIK. They say you upgrade your phone, your car, even your coffee maker, so why settle for yesterday's LASIK? Introducing next level LASIK at Man Eye Institute, the first in Texas with this groundbreaking wavelength plus technology is what they call it. This isn't your parents' LASIK, even though your parents might need LASIK like mine. It's tailored to the unique fingerprint of your eyes for sharper vision and smarter results. Not all LASIK is created equal. Ask Man Eye how. Next level LASIK goes beyond the standard. Call 844-WOW-2020 or visit maneye.com for your 100% free screening today. That's 844-WOW-2020.
Of course, the Man Eye Institute. Thanks so much to them, and also remember to go get the Alpha Seasoning. Cody and I's Elite Spice Blend. It's delicious. It's going to make all your food taste better, no matter what it is. It's going to be great. AlphaSeasoning.com. Okay, Cody. I don't know, man. I just as I watched this game back, it felt like it's not breaking news to anybody that the end of that game was weird. Um, my general thought on this is that we're talking about a Texas team that over the course of the last 4 weeks, the last 4 games that have been away from home, right? We're talking about a team that has played 300 and something snaps. I had the exact number here. I know it was 86 and 87 for those two. 304 defensive snaps away from DKR over the last 4 games, with 173 of them coming over the 2 games prior to Vanderbilt alone, right? And so that it was a secondary that was in tatters by the end of the game, right? Jelani McDonald goes out early with the concussion, and then by the end, you had some kind of mishmash of backups out there. There were times out there during the would-be comeback from Pavia that it was some mix of Xavier Filsaime, Derek Williams, Jonah Williams, Kobe Black, Cade Phillips, and Warren Roberson, right? And so people ask, what about all these? Why did PK go to such soft coverage? Why did he go to prevent so early? When exactly did he go to prevent? Why was the middle of the field so open? Why did Jalen Gilbo pass off Stowers to absolutely the great wide open? To just that play when I watched it back, I was like, I didn't yet have the all 22 for this week. I've been having trouble getting it, but thankfully, since I had to switch from YouTube TV to Fubo, like it's really cool on Fubo. Actually, it's going to help me out, on weeks where the all 22 is hard to get to because you can watch back the games on the Skycam, and even watching it on the Skycam, I'm usually pretty good at figuring out whose responsibility it was. I asked some people on the team. All I got was that it wasn't Gilbo's fault, but I couldn't tell whether Filsaime was supposed to take the post route or whether, and then Derek Williams was supposed to take the outside half or the other way around. I tend to think it was Filsaime because Filsaime in this game, despite being a player who is, dude, he has some nasty stuff to him. He's fast. He's physical. He brings the heat, but what you worry about with him, and this is in keeping with the larger point, but I thought it was interesting when I went and looked at it. I'm like, this guy he just he's still learning. And like in a game like this
Yep.
versus a top 10 opponent, it's like you kind of want your commander in chief, man, back. You want the Michael Taft back there. You want one of your highest volume tacklers, one of your best tacklers, and Jelani McDonald back there. And it's a drop off right now to Xavier Filsaime. There are times when he can, from, like I said, from a physical standpoint, I think he's going to be great as soon as next season, right? But he's sloppy with his positioning. His spatial awareness is bad at times, and he can get sucked in on play fakes. It leaves him out of position to leverage his responsibility. This isn't the first time it's happened. It happened last week as well. And he's also the secondary's least trustworthy tackler among starters and rotational contributors. I went and looked this up. So Jalen Gilbo, he misses a tackle once every 98 snaps so far this season. Cade Phillips, he's played 88 snaps. He hasn't missed a tackle. Kobe Black, despite some issues he's had in coverage, of course, like all that notwithstanding, right? He's only missed a tackle once every 105 snaps. Manny Muhammad once every 205.5, which is that's really, really awesome. Warren Roberson misses a tackle so far this season every 70 snaps. Grayson Littleton once every 82. McDonald once every 94.4. Derek Williams once every 165. And Michael Taft once every 128.7. Do you have any idea how many snaps per missed tackle we are logging so far for Xavier Filsaime? Just a wild guess.
I'm going to
it's the worst of all.
I'm going to go every like 13.
No, it's not that bad. No, it feels like it.
You said it was bad. I'm just like, I'm trying to like.
No. It's the worst on the team, but not by that much. It's once every 54 snaps. So okay. It's like it's the second.
I'm kind of like thinking like based on like how often he's played and stuff. Like outside of the last two games, like.
Yeah, well, the thing about Xavier Filsaime is, you don't realize it, but he's played 163 snaps on the season. He's played as many snaps as Derek Williams.
Well, but what do we know about Derek Williams? Derek Williams has been either in or all the way out.
I don't. Yeah, I think that Derek Williams I think Derek Williams might be all the way out of the program after this season.
Yeah.
But the thing. This is to say. And we're not here to dogpile on Xavier Filsaime. He did some nice things in the game. He's done some nice things. He's a great player. I think he's going to be a fixture of the defense moving forward. But that guy played the most snaps of anybody on the whole defense last week. And I don't see it as being ideal. I just think this bye week came at the right time, man. I think this was a week where even the guys who were active were banged up, right? You had both corners, a couple of linebackers. A lot of these guys are Simmons. I've heard is he's dealing with some stuff. So it comes at a good time. I really think I'd be interested to hear from you if you have anything in particular you wanted to hit on here. But my main takeaway from the game was that after weeks of 86 snaps, 87 snaps on defense, they come into this game. They play lights out for the first 3.5 quarters. And by the end, the secondary's in tatters. The front seven had lost a whole lot of its juice from the very beginning. They were worn out, man. They needed their batteries recharged. And I think it comes at the right time. I don't think that the defense that we saw to end that Vanderbilt game is going to be anything like the defense that we see to start out the Georgia game. And I began to wonder just about the Georgia game, what kind of game script that we're looking at. And do you think that game could, because we've seen Georgia get into all these different kinds of fights with different kinds of teams, right? You look at was that the Tennessee game where they had to score 40 or something like that? 35?
They've been literally, I had this in my Behind the Enemy Lines today. They've been in fights every single Florida, Ole Miss. Florida, they were down 3 with 6 minutes to go. Ole Miss, they were down 9. In the fourth quarter. Auburn, they were down 7 at halftime. Alabama, they were down 10 at halftime. They lost that one. And Tennessee, they were down 21-7 and got down 38-30. So every game in the SEC except for Kentucky has been a dogfight for Georgia into the fourth quarter.
I just wonder about a style of fight. I think if you're Texas, you want it to. Yeah, I think you want it to be a style of fight where it's not 13, 14 possessions you're having to go against here. Right. It's a defense that I think that they come in fresh. They get back Taft. They get back. I just think getting back Taft, Jelani McDonald, Gilbo, Manny Muhammad, and just let those guys play. I mean, it's fine to rotate in the Kobe Black, the Warren Roberson, the Derek Williams, or the Phil Smith a couple times. Roll them in. It's fine. They're going to do it,
but
they
not
just
for drives, not for a drive.
drives, and that
You
was the
can't
other
have
thing.
Anthony Hill missing another series of plays in the red zone for like a
Oh,
third week out of 4. Like this is like things
or
like that
or
to a small
or
extent.
or start out a series with Colin Simmons in, and you know that you're probably going to get one chance to substitute whenever they substitute out because they're going such high tempo, and they bring out Simmons, and then they see that Simmons is off the field, and they go 6 plays. You know what I mean? And that
Yep.
like it's on that last drive of the game where you're stuck, not just stuck with them because Lance Jackson and Brad Spence are good players, but boy, on that last drive, wouldn't you have liked to see Colin Simmons out there the whole time? I think he probably
Yeah.
would have held up fine. So, yeah, man, I think the defense. I'm still, people on the message boards are just worried about the defense and saying they need to get it back together. And they say, "Oh, this is so frustrating when the offensive line finally shows up and looks so good." And give Arch the time. It feels like the defense is going the opposite way. And I'm like, man, like the defense is going to go the opposite way when your whole secondary, one of the best parts of your team, is backups.
Yeah.
It's just that's the way it's going to be. And I feel strongly about the fact or I feel strongly about my prediction that you're going to have Taft back, you're going to have McDonald back, and you're going to give Manny Muhammad and Jalen Gilbo some real time here to kind of get their bodies ready.
The one thing I'll say is I'm not worried about the defense. The defense has pretty much showed us who they are when they're healthy. Like that and the front is playing exceptionally right now. But when you get to that point where you're at the back end of playing 300 plays in the last 3 weeks, and you see the bye week coming up, and you're up 34 to 10 at one point as the fourth quarter begins, and Vanderbilt did good, like climbing in the drive charts last week as far as like their plays and the yardage. It was like 4, 6, 9, 13 play drives. Then they go into halftime, three and out, which I thought was massive coming out, and then they get back to their 8, 9, 10 plays, which is what we talked about last week. They love doing. I think you look at 2 things: the Stowers touchdown, the Pavia thing. Like those were 2 plays that I was like, man, these are abnormal results. And you look at the personnel that was on the field, you look at the situations that happened. I'm like, these are outliers per se, right? I'm not going to be like, well, this is what this defense is. They gave up this blown coverage. Like this is what. No, like I'm expecting Michael Taft to be back 100%, not 100%, but you know what I'm saying, healthy and on the field. I'm
He's
expecting.
yeah.
I'm expecting Jelani to be back. I'm expecting this thing to be a unit when they go out there and they roll out for the first play and the 50th play against Georgia. That's the hope, right? That's the theory. And again, you can assess the team differently. You can assess it as I'm worried about the defense if a Taft was like, up for the year or Jelani was up for things like this, right? I think that's different than what we're looking at right here in a couple of plays in that Vanderbilt game. And, a couple of those plays in the Vanderbilt game, like I said, the Stowers thing and the Pavia touchdown, those were 2 that I think they're just pure outliers. And when I look at big plays, we talked about it again last week in super explosive and just limiting super explosive plays. They had a couple of them in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter alone, Alex, they had a 23-yard play, a 67-yard play, a 21, a 27 through the air. Again, this was the first game this year that they had a pass play of more than 40 yards. Was that touchdown to Stowers? That was the first one of the year of a pass play of more than 40. So they had 4 passing super explosives in the fourth quarter plus a rushing super explosive in the fourth quarter. That's 5. So they had 6 in the game. 5 of them came in the fourth quarter during that whole thing. And it's a little bit of an outlier. Again, the importance of that super explosive stat is they give up 8 last week against Mississippi State. Before the Mississippi State game, they had given up 15 on the year. They've given up 14 the last 2 weeks. And it's like when I look at it from that perspective and I think, all right, should I weigh heavily into this? You didn't have Taft. You're banged up. You're on the back end of 300 plays. Your front's playing good. You're getting after it. And you're forcing the other team to have to pass and have to create these bigger plays. I'm worried to a certain extent, but I'm not that worried. Like, again, if you're looking at playing Derek Williams and Xavier Filsaime in starting roles against Arkansas and A&M, and you're giving up 7 to 9 to 10 super explosives, I'll be worried. But I think this defense is in a fine spot. I think this bye couldn't have come at a better place. Georgia's also on a bye this week. and I think we're going to be in for one heck of a game in Athens next weekend.
Wait, Georgia is not on bye, are
Georgia's
they?
on bye.
No, are they? I thought they were playing Mississippi State or something. Am I wrong about that?
Maybe I'm off. I thought we both had buys.
Pretty sure that they had their bye last week. Am I going crazy? I thought they have to play
No, you're
Mississippi.
right. I'm wrong. They're at
Okay,
Davis Wade this weekend.
they're going down to Davis Wade. Well, what if they drop that game? What kind of
How come I thought so? They had Florida last weekend.
some
They
kind
don't
of
have a bye.
some kind of look ahead spot for them, man. I certainly wouldn't mind it being a trap game for Georgia. I guess probably people say though
Get back.
yeah, you'd probably, I don't know, maybe if you're a Texas fan, you just for the strength of record, you would probably just want Georgia to win that one and just not have their backs against the wall coming back home to Athens where they've won like 37 of their last 38 or whatever.
Well, that's the Kentucky thing, right? They got beat. Georgia got beat at home against Bama, and then they go and they have Kentucky at home the next week, and it's like, well, Kentucky's in trouble.
Yeah.
Texas also was in Kentucky, but the theory is kind of the same. It's like that team's going to be double,
So you mentioned the super explosives, and I just think with the secondary back healthy and with the front getting to recharge a little bit, they have dudes, man, that they could run out there. We saw this week, man, like dude, Ethan Burke is starting to just come out of the dungeon like some monster around the Halloween time. You got Brad Spence coming on. You got this stuff that they're doing where it's not just Ty Anthony Smith they're rolling out there aside Anthony Hill anymore. They're doing this stuff where they're putting Ant Hill and Trey Moore both in there, traditional inside linebackers right now. They're starting to do some stuff, man, and that they're going to pull out the stops versus Georgia. And I would say with Georgia, I just don't worry so much about the super explosives because when I watch Georgia play, they don't look to me like a team that they're Zachariah Branch is their leading receiver, right? He plays like 80% of his snaps out of the slot. I don't think does he even have 500 yards? I don't think he does. I think he's still under 500 yards receiving. So if and I'll probably need to. I should have looked that up before we came on, but I'm pretty
He's got
sure
8 super explosives, which is one less than Ryan Wingo, who leads Texas. So he's their leading super explosive guy.
Yeah, and Ryan Wingo is going through, and think about Ryan Wingo before these last couple of weeks. It wasn't like he'd been the big guy that you think about. You're like, oh my gosh, Mr. Explosive. So I don't worry so much about those versus those guys. But then you think about, Arkansas and you think about Taylor Green, and their defense is so bad. They're always having to play this comeback, hair on fire stuff. Who knows what could happen there if you get confused on the back end. And then, like you were saying before we came on, Cody, dude, you get Casey Concepcion and Craver and all the rest of these guys for A&M, and you start letting Marcel Reed get all these super explosives over your head, some kind of 8 super explosives against those guys. I think you were just right to say, man, like you're probably in for a long day.